On 15th of April 2025, the Singapore Parliament was dissolved and an election was called. For the next 3 weeks, party candidates braved the sweltering heat to go on their walkarounds, speaking with residents, shaking hands and taking mandatory photos with them. At night, they roused the crowds with their rally speeches, hoping to convince voters to vote for them. It was a battleground of tactical strategic plays and battle of wits via verbal sparring. When the dust finally settled on 3rd of May 2025, after voters had casted their votes, the ruling party, PAP, emerged victorious once again, winning 87 out of 97 parliamentary seats. In an election, there are a myriad of reasons contributing to a candidate's win, such as political affiliation, track record, economic condition of the country, and the list goes on. A platform that offers a somewhat even playing field for old and new candidates alike will be through the rally speeches. It gives them an opportunity to pitch themselves on what they can offer to do if they were elected. As such, we will be exploring the rally speeches of two parties today, the People's Action Party and the Workers' Party. Specifically, we will be looking at sentiment analysis using Python to see if there's any correlation with the rally speech sentiment and their election win. Sentiment analysis is a field within natural language processing that focuses on identifying and extracting information, such as subjectivity and polarity from text data. Now, where do I get the transcript of the rally speeches from? They are not posted anywhere on the internet. Well, I went to each of the YouTube videos of the rally speeches and manually copy-pasted each of their transcripts into an Excel sheet. Of course, this is not the most accurate way to get the transcripts as it is dependent on the algorithm being able to interpret what each candidate is saying above the cacophony of music and applauses. But I believe that it should at least be able to replicate at least 60 to 80% of what the candidates are saying. As there are too many rally speeches to process, I will only collect the data of candidate speeches from the People's Action Party, the PAP, and the Workers' Party, or WP. Once the data is collected, we will start by processing and cleaning the data for analysis. There are a couple of things I came across while processing the data. First thing to note is that the accuracy of the transcript is dependent on the clarity of pronunciation of words by the candidates, and whether the words are identified correctly by the transcript that YouTube uses. Next, the transcript will record other sounds apart from the actual speech, such as applause, laughter, and music. We will be removing them from the speeches so as to reduce the impact during the sentiment analysis. Thirdly, there are timestamps. We can leave it in as the numbers will not mean anything in sentiment analysis and won't have an impact on the calculation of the score. The fourth thing to note is that Singapore is a multiracial society. As such, candidates may speak multiple languages such as English, Mandarin, Malay, Tamil, and even some dialects. As the transcript is only able to identify English language, thus I will be disregarding any speeches made in other languages apart from English. The last thing to note is the format of the rallies. This has nothing to do with the transcripts, but rather how the rallies were organized. For example, some of the PAP rallies have speeches made by activists and retired PAP politicians speaking to drum up support for specific districts. Additionally, there could be cabinet ministers visiting the rallies of different districts and areas and speaking there to show support as well. As I have categorized them by the district they are from and not the district which they have spoken to support, this might impact the sentiment analysis slightly. So it's just something to take note of. Also, as mentioned earlier, for the purpose of this study, I will only include the speeches of the candidates for the current election only. We will be using sentiment analysis from the Python library called TextBlock. It uses a rule-based lexicon approach, where there are static rules and a predefined dictionary of words and phrases to produce a sentiment score. For a paragraph or document, it will compute the average score of the words in it. Polarity score ranges from -1 to 1, where it has three modes: negative, neutral, and positive. Subjectivity score ranges from 0 to 1, objective to subjective respectively. Now that we have processed the data and have a simple understanding of what sentiment analysis is, we can pass the data through the sentiment analyzed function to generate the sentiment score. We can see that the speeches are generally positive, while speeches can range between subjective to objective. We can also do a group by and view the most and least positive candidate speeches. We can also repeat the same to see the most positive district speeches as well. Then, we can plot a histogram of the polarity score by party to see the distribution, and the speeches seem to be only mildly positive. We can do the same for subjectivity scores, and we can see that the speeches, while mostly scoring to be objective, are slightly leaning towards being subjective. Next, we can plot a scatter plot of polarity score against vote percentages to see if there is any correlation. The plot results are everywhere. It seems like there is no direct relationship between the polarity of the speeches and the vote percentages. Now, how about subjectivity score against vote percentages instead? Similarly, we can see that there is no direct relationship between the subjectivity of the speeches and the vote percentages as well. These results are not surprising. As mentioned earlier, there could be many reasons attributing to a candidate's win, and relying solely on candidate speech is not a good enough feature. Nevertheless, it is still quite interesting to see the charts. Lastly, as an added bonus, we can plot word clouds of all the speeches made by the two parties and see which words do they most frequently use. It's slightly surprising to me, as the words they use do converge slightly, and they do use similar words. And that's the end. As always, I will be sharing the link to my notebook in the description section of the video. Do you have any thoughts on it? Feel free to comment in the comment box down below. If you like this video and would like to see more content of this nature, please be sure to like and subscribe as well. Thanks for watching, and until next time.